Ignition. Liftoff.
Coming to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas, this is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Alan Hernandez.
I have no sound.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're here.
There we go. There we go. We're live.
You have no sound because you're not talking.
Well, welcome to Realty Ruckus today, guys. We really appreciate you joining us. All right. Are we still on? Some technical difficulties
We're
again.
talking about David's big head, right?
We were just talking about David's big head. And how
Let me make sure it's not.
Oh, you can see me now.
Anyways, guys, thank you again for joining us today at Realty Ruckus. We are live from the White Picket Realty Studios. Don't forget that you can drop your comments below or tweet us. BB, what's the tweet again?
At Realty Ruckus.
There we go. You can also text us anything that you guys want to talk about, anything that you guys want to bring up. We're here to help your businesses grow. So let's get started. We have a phenomenal weekend coming up. First of all, I want to talk about that because White Picket takes its first trip, all of us, to LA.
I've never been to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
We're talking about the California, not Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
the good LA.
The good LA.
The good LA. Come on now.
So we're taking a quick little trip to LA. We're going to be there for 5 days. It's a convention / retreat for us. So we get a chance to go to the NAREP convention. We get a chance to learn. We're going to be bringing a lot of what's happening at the convention itself to you guys. So make sure that you guys stay tuned either on the Realty Ruckus page, White Picket Realty page, or any of our pages.
We're going to be a lot of Facebook Live and a lot of YouTube Live while we're there.
I'll stay tuned.
Live streaming the event. Yeah, it's going to be very good.
So we'll bring that event to you guys. At the same time, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to be helping and coaching our agents that are going with us to get their businesses boosted and ready for next year. And that's something that we want to make sure that you guys are already working on for next year. The year now is coming to an end. We have a couple months left. Yeah. Now is the time for you to plan everything that you need to accomplish for next year. So we're going to be doing it this weekend. We invite you guys to do the same thing and make sure that you guys reach out to us.
Ashley, you run a title company.
I do.
Is it not true that October, November, December, everything slows down?
For most title companies, they do. For us, fortunately, we pick back up. I mean, it's just generally what happens to us is December is a dead month.
Yeah.
Everybody's cranking it down to November. But most title companies, June, July, and August, they're dead every other time.
Really?
Yes.
You think it has a lot to do with the fact that you guys service so many real estate agents as well?
I think it's a lot of the investor, a lot of the broker, a lot of the subprime loans.
That's what I meant. Real estate investors, not agents.
Yeah, real estate investors.
Very cool.
Because obviously, thank you.
Oh, look at that.
Good job, man. Hey, your head's not so big anymore.
By the way, guys, by the way, today is Mexican Independence Day.
Oh!
Yes.
There's
Ashley's grito.
Is that his grito?
Ashley Karen just did a grito live on air for
Live
us.
on
Mexican
air. For
Independence
you
Day.
guys that always wanted to hear Ashley do a grito, there it is.
That was so good.
And actually, today I would like to have a grito off because one of the things I want to do is challenge this bet that you guys.
Alan wants to go.
Hold on.
Alan wants to renege on his bet and go double or nothing.
No.
Yeah, he wants to. Yeah, he wants to.
Let's tell the listeners what the bet was at first.
So first of all, the bet last week was that if I lost whatever game you guys invented on the spot,
Invented on the spot? No.
which I had no clue what you guys were talking about.
I'm going to let everyone in on a secret here. The article that I read off of that for the bet on Tuesday, Alan had in his messenger box for over 2 weeks.
I don't believe in it.
So he had 2 weeks
he did.
to open it, memorize it, and learn it. And that's how I know he never read it.
Anyway, so the bet was that I was going to have to eat some burger, right?
Not some
giant
burger. No, eat a giant burger.
A
giant
big,
burger.
greasy, giant burger.
All right.
From Texas Burger Palace.
So my proposal is that we have a new challenge, right? We have a new challenge, and we do like a take it all or whatever.
I believe they call it double or nothing.
You know, we figured plus my other
Take
my
it
other
all, man.
proposal. My other
I believe
proposal,
we do it. Take it all.
my other proposal is that I'm allowed to assign a champion to eat the burger on my behalf.
I mean,
On my behalf, if I do in fact lose again.
we're going Lord of the Rings here. I mean, a Game of Thrones, rather.
Yeah, right.
So
Who is going to be your champion? Is it going to be Brandon?
more than likely it will be Brandon. Brandon, you're going to be having a big burger today.
I'm going for the mountain.
Anyway. All right, guys, we have a phenomenal show planned out for you guys today. We want to talk to you guys about dealing with bad clients, crazy contractors stealing money. We have a legal segment coming up. When we get right back, we'll get right into that. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217. Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, david@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's david@houseflippingnetwork.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. David, what's the weather look like out there for our listeners this weekend?
Well, we're expecting afternoon showers today, and we're going to have highs in the low 90s throughout the weekend and lows in the high 70s, and we're probably going to have some more rain this weekend,
that sounds
unfortunately.
amazing.
But we'll be in LA.
You know what? You know where the weather is going to be perfect?
LA.
LA.
In
That's
LA.
right.
Louisiana, baby.
Wrong LA.
It's going to be amazing over there. Anyway, we got to get into some of what people are asking for. We've actually had a couple good questions. Now we had an idea on what we wanted to talk about, guys, but this show is really meant for you guys, and we actually want to cater our content to what you guys want to learn about. So we had a really interesting question come up. What was it, David?
The one from Monica?
Yeah.
Okay, so Monica asked about one of the pictures, or actually it was a video that you had posted of a remodel we're currently doing, and you said the last 10% can break your entire deal, and you use the hashtag setting comps. So she wanted to know, what do you mean your property is comping higher? If so, how do you make that happen, and how do you determine how much higher you want to come out?
Got it. Well, where do I start with that?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough question. So where do I come up with where my properties will comp out at? First off, I do take into account what the average market is selling for. So obviously, if the market is selling for $500,000, I'm not going to ask $600 for the property because I know it definitely won't comp out.
Yeah, you got to be reasonable when you're setting a comp too.
Yeah. Now, when I put the hashtag setting comps, I put it in there because we consistently get the opportunity to set new comps in neighborhoods. And the reason why we do it is because the product that we deliver is just a little bit over what most other investors, what most other listings will be like. So in this case, this is a property that's been taken down to the studs completely. there's absolutely nothing original except maybe a couple pieces of the original framing and the exterior brick. Everything else on this house is brand new. So it almost rivals new construction. You know, it's got new plumbing throughout, under slab, everything, new electrical, new everything. And because it's so custom designed, we get a chance to put that property on the market and have something, show a product that not many other people can do or can compete with.
Absolutely.
So yes, when we set the price on this property, we're going to come in just a little bit higher than what most other properties just like it or similar to it will be priced at. Now, I don't want to push the envelope by more than about 10%. And I keep that as a rule of thumb because I still have to make sure that the property appraises. Sometimes the property is appraised for more because the appraiser will go out there and say, yeah, this is done, you know, amazing. Here's, you know, he'll give us a credit for all of the work that's been put into it. And sometimes the appraiser will go out there and say, no, I'm sorry, this is your max value for the neighborhood. It won't appraise for more than that. And I have to go back and tell the client, hey, I'm sorry, it's not going to appraise. I'm not going to price reduce. So you have to bring more money to the table.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation that I have
all
to have
the time.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in order to avoid that, I let them know up front, hey, it may or may not appraise. And if you want this property, I know that it's a special property and you're going to have to bring some money to the table if it doesn't appraise.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but you only set the comp when the property sells. Is that correct?
That's true.
And so you can set the price, whatever price you want to. It's just you set the comp when the price sells. And obviously, if the price sells higher, it's going to increase the values of every house in the area.
That's absolutely right. It's absolutely right. And we get a chance to do that, not only just because of the product we deliver, Monica. A lot of it also has to do with the marketing that our team does. So we go above and beyond on reaching out to potential buyers in those areas, not only through social media, but through postcards, text campaigns, voicemail drops. We try to use all of the technology available, and that's all stuff that we get a chance to talk about on the show. So down the line, you know, these are all things we can actually bring to you guys either here or in an event like the one we're having for the VA class, where we can show you guys all the technology that we use to bring clients who are willing to pay a little bit more for the property, and then therefore we get a chance to, you know, sell the house and set a comp.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of comps, going in that same direction, recently you started using the clause for FHA contracts.
Yes.
To try to
I've been meaning to tell you this, Ashley.
Okay.
Yeah, to try to avoid the whole, oh, well, it appraised low, so now I'm going to bust out and get my earnest money back. You actually use the clause, and that's something that we spoke about with Curtis, Curtis Warden, one of our biggest listeners,
our biggest fan, Curtis, who turned 68 yesterday.
Hey, Curtis, I had some of your popcorn. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Aging well at 68.
Yes. Okay, aging amazing. What's the secret? So yeah, you know, we got a chance to implement the idea of requesting upfront that if it's an FHA buyer, that they do their inspection and appraisal within their option period.
Yeah.
All right. And we got about a 50-50 rate of return on people saying, okay, they were willing to do it. And then a lot of realtors calling me. And I mean, I literally had a bunch of realtors call me and saying, you can't do that.
Really?
And yeah. And, you know, that's the thing about real estate agents is everyone feels like they know everything.
Well, the way that a lot of real estate agents are taught is that there's like a straight line, and everything goes along the lines with Trex contracts, and you follow that line from beginning to end, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that really you can create any contract. You don't have to use a Trex contract, and you can play the situation any way you want. That's outside the line sometimes. So that's what this is.
Here's what's crazy. So on this property, and this is a property that we're liquidating for an investor that rehabs a lot of property here in town, and he uses our marketing services to help him sell. So we put it up, we put the clause up, and he said, hey, we want that house. We're going to come in over list price, which of course is enticing to the seller because they're thinking, hey, I'm getting more than I'm asking for, right? But we cannot agree to the property not appraising. And here's the thing: this property is, the truth about it is it's overpriced by about 15 grand.
Okay.
But this investor has over rehabbed this property by so much that if this guy,
it's amazing.
If anybody went out there and bought a property at normal price, 15 grand cheaper, let's just say, it would cost them 45 grand to get it to what this one looks like now. I mean, easily. And that's at our pricing, you know? But
what responses they've been getting? We got to go to break here in a few seconds, but real quickly, what the negative responses, what are they saying?
The negative response is that they don't want to put their client into a negative asset situation, that they don't want to force them to bring more money than they should be bringing. And I get that. When you're representing a buyer, that's your job, is to make sure that you don't put your client in a scenario where they may be in a negative equity situation. But you got to understand is sometimes the demand compared to the supply outweighs these other issues.
Yeah,
so in this case,
and the potential equity, if it's there, then you don't really have a lot to worry about.
Exactly. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit more about this, but we got to go to a quick break. When we get back, I'll tell you guys what another agent just told me, and we'll go from there.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you're interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join@teamwpr.com, join@teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, david@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's david@houseflippingnetwork.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus, and we're talking about comps and appraisals. And you were going to finish out the story on this appraisal.
I was going to tell you not on the appraisal, but I was going to tell you about one of the agents that called me on this whole idea that we had for requiring FHA buyers to get their appraisal and inspection done within their option period. And the first thing he does when he picks up the phone is he says, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to submit an offer the way it's supposed to be done. And if you don't, and it's over list price, and if you don't have your buyer,
way it's supposed to be
if you don't
done.
have your seller accept it, I'm going to report you to TREC." And,
Nice. That's a great way to start a conversation.
Oh, I loved
Great
it.
way to
And
start a
I just
conversation.
love dealing with agents like that, by the way. I mean,
Oh, man.
like for me, it's kind of a thrill, you know?
They come out with a
Guns blazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know?
That's the shoot first, ask
I
questions
tell
later.
you, man.
And
mentality.
I tell you what, Alan, I will eat your burger if that type of agent listens to this show.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. And I will take you up on that for sure. I have a new,
somebody eat my burger.
new chosen champion.
Yeah, right. You got your new champion?
Yes. Anyway, when that happens to you guys, and if that happens, because I know there's a lot of agents out there that maybe like to play that game, all you have to do is let them down easily, get over with the conversation, and let them, if they're going to report you to TREC, let them. Hey, you have something to report to TREC? Fine, do it.
Right.
You know, there's no problem with that. First off, it's a big old process to do it anyway. So most agents that throw that out there never do it. right? But if they do, the worst thing that can happen is that you have to actually show that you've done things right per your buyer or your seller's specifications.
Yeah.
And that's it. And Trek's never going to get in the middle of why you should or shouldn't have done this or require that. They just want to make sure that everything's done legally and ethically.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, if you've never been part of a Trek investigation, the Trek lawyers are very, very fair. And the investigative team is very, very fair. And they really do look at 100% every piece of the evidence.
Yeah.
So I've actually had a complaint filed against me from a home seller who claimed that I told him I was an inspector. I don't know if you remember that. And I was like, no, I said I was going to go look at the home and do an inspection to find out how much it needs in repairs. And he was like, no, you said you were a Trek inspector.
Yeah, nice.
And we went back and forth, but the investigative team, they looked at all the emails, looked at every correspondence, listened to recorded phone calls. And about 4 weeks later,
by the way, the best thing we have ever done
is record our phone calls.
To help us out of any of these sticky situations. Is set up all of our phones through automated systems that record every one of our business calls. And I'll tell you what, every time I get someone that calls me and says, hey, I'm going to report you to Trek, one of the things that I'll say in there is, you realize all of our phone calls are recorded. And it's like, okay, never mind. You know, it's crazy what that does for you. And so if you guys are out there and you're having to deal with, you know, crazy sellers or crazy buyers or whatever it is, that has saved us a lot of heartache for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we want to talk a little bit more on what we started talking about with Monica, because Ashley brought up the fact that setting comps can be illegal,
right?
And it has been in the past based on how people do it.
Right. It's a what happens is this is the part of the thing about setting comps is you have a sale. Now, if you have a fake sale, you have a fake comp. So there have been situations where an LLC has sold to another LLC, or, you know, brother sells to sister and they try to put us out of MLS. Don't do it. It's illegal.
Yeah.
Likewise, they report to title company that there is a deposit paid outside of closing to the seller. And then the appraiser turns around and gets a 5% tick on the price. And that sets up a domino effect where the next property is 5%. Pretty soon the feds come and investigate you as a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
So just be careful of that. Don't get caught with doing that.
Yeah. And that's where it would become, you know, in a fraudulent issue. I mean, when we talk about setting comps, we're setting comps literally selling to a third party, unknown individual with an agent in place. And yeah, we may be selling it for a little bit higher than market value, but it's based on the product itself and the marketing that we're doing. Not because we're talking about selling to ourselves or any of these other crazy things that people do.
It's all based on what a reasonable person would sell and what a reasonable person would buy.
And, you know, that's the thing. And sometimes I think realtors may not understand this. And this is only for new realtors. A lot of them don't get it. It's the sales price is what someone's willing to sell for. And what someone's willing to buy for. It has absolutely nothing to do with what the market itself is doing.
That's very true.
You know, and yeah, there's some limitations there. Yes, an appraiser may or may not agree with you, but an appraisal is still just an opinion. That's it. An appraiser can come in and say, hey, I don't think this property is worth, you know, a nickel.
Yeah.
And that's just his opinion.
Have y'all heard of a container house?
Yeah,
we've heard of that.
Yeah. We talked about them shortly.
Okay. They're trying to do container houses in Houston, and they cannot get an appraisal for them. Now, if listeners, what a container house is basically it's just that. It's a storage container, something like
shipping container.
Like a shipping container.
Yeah.
They put 4 or 5 of them together. They call that a house.
Yeah.
Well, they look good too.
There is one off the freeway off 59. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, they're right off of 59 and right outside downtown. Like,
there's a few that have gone up in that area as well.
Yeah. I want to say it's close to George R. Brown Convention Center.
Yeah. It's the exit right before that. But Polk Street is the exit, I believe.
You can see it. It's if you're going north, it's to your right. It's a like a tan colored house,
real modern,
and it's got a slanted roof. It's literally 4 or 5 containers just pieced together.
Right.
It's kind of cool, but
I can see that how they would have a problem with an appraisal, because how do you compare that to an actual house?
That's true.
You know, that's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, we do have another question which we want to address. What was the other question?
What the LLC one?
No. Something about how do you buy houses?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
when your credit is maxed out. That was a question we had. One of our listeners from San Antonio.
Yeah, he was watching a previous program
Got it.
and reached out to us outside of the show.
Yeah,
Got
and he was saying that he owns 2 already. He wants to own more, but he feels like his credit's already maxed out. So he wants to know what avenues does he have in order to continue buying houses.
It depends on how he's buying them, in my opinion. And the thing is, I don't understand why his credit would be maxed out when you're allowed.
Well, maybe like your debt to income is probably
Maybe his debt to income
Yeah.
is too high, so he
Yeah.
can't conventionally go and buy more houses.
That's what I'm guessing. It
Right.
has to do with debt to income.
Now, as far as FHA loans, you can buy up to 10 properties.
Yeah.
That way. Now, after you hit that 10 mark, that's it. They're like, hey, man, you're too high risk. You know. And there are several ways for you to do that, but most of the ways that you're going to find is through portfolio lenders. And that's kind of your next step is, all right, now you've maxed out on your 10 properties, or in this case, you've gotten to your 2, your debt to income is too high.
Right.
Now you need to probably approach some local banks and start asking them if they have portfolio loan products, something that they can finance and keep.
And that's not only
in-house.
for people with 10. Even if you have 3 or 4, sometimes you're better off going and getting that portfolio loan from one of the small lenders. I mean, I know there's a lot of lenders here.
What hurts a lot of investors is that they look at what FHA offers in terms of APR, and then they go to a portfolio lender and they see a 6 or 7% interest rate, and they're like, oh, I'm never going to pay that. Here's the deal. If the property cash flows, if you're paying 10%, and heck, I have one at 12% and I'm cash flowing like crazy on it, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Because it's really
If the numbers work.
If the numbers work, they work. It's kind of like when you're arguing about price with like a wholesaler or a realtor. If the numbers work, who cares?
Let them make some money.
Just let people make money and move on, because in the business, it's just about asset creation, building of assets. So go to the portfolio lenders. After you've run out of options with portfolio lenders, then your other option is to talk to private lenders. If you don't know where to start looking for private money, Quest IRA is a good space.
Yeah.
Attending networking events.
Attending networking events. Yeah.
Donovan asked a question about a series LLC, and what's my opinion about a series LLC. And I think this is a good segment of what, series LLCs are good. If you haven't used them, start using them. And essentially, when your credit's maxed out, hopefully you can get a property, put it in a series LLC, number one, number two, and then you'll be personally guaranteed it. Now, most banks don't count a personal guarantee against your debt to income. And so you put it in an LLC, and then you personally guarantee that note. And that's another way to get around the 10 units, because an LLC owns the property, not the individual.
Oh, okay.
So
that's great how
the
that's
personal guarantee doesn't count towards your debt to income.
Most banks won't count that.
Oh, that's that's
some
great
really good
information
advice.
right
That's
there. Yeah.
Golden nugget dropped on you guys right there. So make sure you guys look into that. What's funny is attorneys have different perspectives on series LLC. Some attorneys love them, some attorneys hate them. But if it's for the purpose of buying more houses,
absolutely,
move with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the biggest thing I've heard about series LLCs, and maybe Ashley, you can comment on this, is that they haven't really been challenged in a court yet, so no one knows whether they'll hold up in court or not.
Yeah. But why would they not hold up? Because essentially it's the same thing as an LLC. It's just you could put more assets in them and not have to pay a filing fee every time. The only person that would really challenge an LLC would be the state of Texas, and they're the ones that authorized it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very true.
Hey, I know that we keep wanting to talk, and we're bouncing a lot today. But I know we've been wanting.
Well,
to
we
talk.
got some great questions.
Yeah, and I want that. I want to answer everyone's questions. Yeah. And if you guys have more, please drop them here, because even if we don't cover them today, we'll pick a show on the next round and cover them.
Donovan said thank you, by the way, Ashley.
Oh, perfect.
We want to make sure that we cover the jerk contractors that you put on title, BB, because I know that every one of us who's ever dealt with fixing a house at any given point has run into a deadbeat contractor who has asked you for 50% up front or some kind of deposit, and then just never shows up or gets done midway or something and then disappears. I can tell you there's plenty of contractors out there that owe me a lot of money.
Well, and the problem is you'll never see that money.
I've actually never seen those contractors again.
They're probably in Los Angeles.
They're in LA. We're gonna go chase their butts down this weekend.
They have no idea that's
actually
coming.
part of what our schedule is. You know what? That's the thing is that the biggest part of this business, that's one of the biggest pitfalls. All right, you figured out how to buy them. You figured out how to buy more than two. You figured out how to, partner or finance or get, private money. That's all. There's all these obstacles. And then you're like, all right, I finally got a deal. And then some, jerk takes 20 or 30 grand from you. And that's all you had built in potential profits. And now you're working for free. Mm-hmm. And that is something that happens over and over and over again. So my question, and BB, you've been in construction for years now, and you handle all of our big projects. How does someone protect themselves from those guys?
Well, number one is you really have to and essentially interview your contractors. It's not the same as like a job interview. You don't bring them in and say like, oh, well, but there is a lot of the parts of that. Like you want to know, one, how do they get to the job site? As ridiculous as that sounds, sometimes you run into contractors who you find out later, they don't even have a vehicle. Yeah. Like they're just riding around with their workers. And that happens a lot, believe it or not. Two, you want to make sure that the contractors that you're using have some type of reference. Someone has used them. And even then, that's not enough sometimes. You want to actually see the work in person and know that they're capable of doing that job. And the other part is, and this is really big for me, this is one thing I've learned, and this is a golden nugget, is don't ever hire the guy who just left a bigger construction company to go do his own thing. Yeah. I can tell you that 99.9% of the time, you're going to lose money when you do that because that guy may be a very good employee for that company, but he doesn't know how to run the business. Yeah. And there's two parts of construction. There's actually doing the construction, and then there's the management of the funds. So as the money comes in, how do you disperse that money? And I think that's the biggest thing contractors fall into. That's why contractors have a bad rap, is because they get behind on one project, so they take money from a future project and put it towards that one. Yeah. And you can't do that.
So they've underestimated what this project's going to cost, right? So they know they can't cover it all based on what they charge.
And the problem is that they know that from day one. Yeah. They know I shot that really low to get the bid done and to get the contract. Yeah. And now I'm in a situation where I can't get it done. I've gone back to the owner and told them it's going to be more. The owner told me to go fly a kite, that I gave him a price, and I got to do something.
Now he has to go sell himself to another investor. Take 50% down to cover this other project, and now he's upside down on this one too. And that's why you never go with the cheapest guy.
Never.
He's got to take it all.
He's just got to take it all. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join@teamwpr.com, join@teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David@houseflippingnetwork.com.
And we are back on the Ruckus. Roll Tide.
Nice,
Roll
right?
Tide.
Because when you produce the
Roll
show, you can do
Tide,
that.
baby.
Oh, hey.
I see how this works.
Hey, we're looking forward to some great games this weekend
Yeah, we
in
are.
LA once we land.
Yeah, we
Oh,
are.
hell yeah.
FSU plays this weekend.
Louisville.
You guys play this weekend.
Yep.
We caught U of H last night. U of H did okay.
Yeah.
Not too bad. It was all right.
Wait, was
Yeah.
that the shocker?
Yeah, that's
That's the
Okay.
Cougs thing.
that's what people from U of H do. That's the shocker. Anyway, so we were just talking about contractors and some of the things you can do to protect yourself and why you shouldn't go with the cheapest bid at any given moment because it
never.
usually turns into a what do they call it? Kiting or kite scheme? Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
kiting.
it's called kiting. I didn't know about that until one of our bankers, Waylon, he's with the City Bank of Texas. He was telling me, oh, like contractors will go to several different banks. They'll open accounts and then they'll write checks from one account to another account. And even though the funds aren't there, so that they can continue to write checks to contractors. And so it's just like floating fake funds from account to account.
I had contractors do that to me as well.
Really?
Oh, that's
They would-
right. You worked at a bank.
Yeah, and they would bring in big checks, and they would get mad when I wouldn't make the funds available immediately, of course, because they needed to do payroll or whatnot.
Yeah.
But a check's just a piece of paper, and they're bringing that to me, and they get mad, and usually I had to make those funds available. I remember one time I had to make the funds available because the check had come through so many times, but I knew what they were doing. But my district manager made me do the funds available, and sure enough, they were kiting those funds.
Well, if any listener out there does that, don't do it.
yeah, right.
They have a procedure now called truncating. What truncating is it used to be you actually had to present the check to another bank. Now what they do is they make a copy of the front and back of the check, destroy the original check, and that's called truncating. Then electronically send it to another bank, and that's just as good as the original check. So those checks are no longer having a 24 to 48 hour clear time. They're clearing immediately because especially the same branch. So Bank of America, you present it to Bank of America, that clears within seconds.
They don't clear immediately. The bank will make it available immediately, and the bank's just basically taking a risk on a lag time about 1 or 2 days.
Well, remember, they're making it available immediately, but if you're writing the checks and the money's not there, that right there is considered could be a misdemeanor / felony.
Yeah, it comes back quickly. You're
Right.
right. It comes back quickly. We'll find out pretty quick.
How do we protect ourselves? I mean, as investors or as realtors who are referring contractors or helping a client, what are some of the other things we can do to protect ourselves? Is having a contract in place with the contractor, is that going to help?
Contract's only as good as a piece of paper it's written on.
Yeah.
I mean, so if somebody's going to screw you, I don't know if I can say the word screw you, but if somebody's going
I think we've said worse.
if somebody's gonna do something like that, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Pay them the profit in the back.
Yeah.
So in other words, if they're gonna make 15% profit, they don't make that until you're satisfied with the product. With the whatever they're paid to do. Another thing is they're usually having subcontractors get a list of subcontractors and get paid bills. Get basically, if you're going to do a floor, you know who's going to be there, and everybody signs off on it, and you're required to be notarized.
Yeah, and I think the reason why you're bringing that up, and correct me if I'm wrong, is because if the general contractor doesn't pay his subcontractors,
That's right.
now the subcontractors want to come after you for payment.
That's exactly right.
Can they file a lien?
They can file a mechanics lien by affidavit, and if they list removables, they'll survive a foreclosure.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just unfortunately.
I don't think a lot of people understand what we just talked about there. That's kind of next level. What Ashley's saying is if you file a mechanics lien,
right,
it may actually survive a foreclosure process.
It could,
which means the next person that owns it, whether it's a bank or anyone else, they may actually end up having to pay that contractor regardless. And we just went through that same process.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because that's one thing that happens at the foreclosure auctions. People think that the mortgage foreclosure wipes out the underlying liens, but there are liens that survive that process, and you still have to pay them. And sometimes they're big. And 20, 30,000 for materials like doors, windows, things like that. It adds up quick.
We've got a home investor right now who basically they lent money to another investor to fix up a property. Well, this investor was novice and didn't do what she was doing. She was foreclosed on. And then lo and behold, they pull a title work. There's 2 liens, one an affidavit for 43,000, another lien for 42,000. And unfortunately, I've gone through 13 different title underwriters. They've opened up title at 7 different places, and they can't find anybody to insure $77,000 worth of mechanics liens by affidavits, which means that they're going to have to bond around those, which means that they're going to have to find a surety bond for 2 times any amount over 40. I mean, under 40,000, 1.5 times anything over 40,000, which means that they're going to have to find a surety bond for close to
150 grand almost.
150 grand.
Wow.
And in a surety bond, you think a surety bond doesn't cost anything but about $1,500.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with the surety bond is you have to have the collateral to give to the surety bond, because if the surety bond has to pay, they want cash on hand.
Yeah.
So they're essentially required dollar to dollar.
Wow. So you have to put all that money up, cash.
Right.
Yeah. So point of the story is a bad contractor can really ruin you. And that's why it's important to go through that interview process.
Yeah, and the other word of advice I would give to people, and I think a lot of people fail on this one, is make sure you get a contract with the contractor. You need to have in writing, and you need to be clear on exactly what it is. And now, I'm not saying if you're going to have a fence built, for example, you need to say, we're going to use 137 nails. It doesn't need to be that specific, but it needs to be very clear on what the scope of the work is. So we're going to build a fence that's this many feet high, that has a run of this length, and this is the expectation of the work to be done.
Time frame is important.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And that's really important to have that in writing, because without that, if you ever come to a situation where it's like, hey, you didn't build it the way I asked, then it's your word versus theirs.
Yeah.
And who can you really believe is it's not in writing?
Yeah.
Well, also, when you're talking about references, always ask a contractor for 5 references. A contractor has 3 that they're going to give you, right? But then ask, well, could you have 2 more? And then those 2 more are always going to be the ones like they start really bumbling over their words. And then whatever 2 they give you, check with them.
Those are the 2 that you want to call.
Those are 2 you want to call, because, they know 3.
They got 3 that are going to be good for them.
Right. Everybody asks for 3.
That's smart. That's
And
really
so ask
smart.
for 5.
Well, another, just for our listeners out there who might be looking for a resource, maybe they're starting to work with contractors or looking for contractors, a great forum on Facebook is Houston Real Estate Investors. If you want to join that group, people ask for recommendations as far as contractors go all the time.
That's a great group.
And there are great experienced and seasoned investors in there that do give out recommendations from time to time. So this is a great place for
I will
references.
warn you guys against something on that group, and I'm a moderator of the group,
Yeah.
so I get a chance to see all the posts. With as many contractors that go on there and make advertisement posts, we can't keep up with all of them and actually erase.
Yeah,
all
don't
of them.
trust those posts.
So,
Get a reference.
I'm letting you guys right now know that if you go on that list and you call one of those guys, you're on your own, because you want to make sure that whoever it is you call, you have to ask for references. And even in the same forum, you might just want to say, hey, what do you guys think of this person? He's posted here before. Who's used him and what has he done?
And people will let you know.
A crazy story that happened not too long ago is one of those people that was posting on the forum did some work. I don't know if you remember this. Did some work for an investor on the group. The investor later comes, to the group and posts pictures of the work that person did.
And it was shoddy.
Wow.
And here's the thing, the pictures of the kitchen that this contractor put in were the kitchen was horrible, to just say the least. And then when we found out what they paid, which was like 12 grand for this kitchen.
Yeah, they actually put how much they paid on it, and it was just a crazy number, and it was all like Home Depot cabinets that were poorly installed. Just really badly installed.
They wouldn't open up correctly. There was cracks.
There was like all these weird
gaps
gaps and cracks everywhere.
It was horrible. So there are horror stories out there. And so if you join that, that group or any other forum out there, no matter what or who's posting their advertisement, that doesn't mean that those people are sponsored or that we acknowledge them in any way.
And for anyone out there, this is realtors, homeowners, investors, anybody out there who's going to hire a contractor, don't trust Home Advisor. Don't trust Angie's List.
Yeah, we actually do any work with them, and we get calls all the time on, hey, who did your work, or can you guys do more work on some of these houses, and Angie's List is one of the major ones that calls us. I get a missed call from Angie's List once a week.
Man, it's really frustrating, because the more business you get from Angie's List is because you're paying for it.
Yeah,
you're not actually getting it because you're a good contractor. You pay for those references, and you pay for the referrals from Angie's List and Home Advisor, and they're just selling whoever. They haven't done a single interview on me. They haven't ever been in one of my houses. They don't know the quality of my work, yet they're calling me and saying, oh, let me sell you these leads of people who want work done. I'm like, well, if you're selling them to me, that means you're selling them to anybody.
That's right.
Regardless of the quality of the work. So if you're out there and you think that you're going to be safe just because you're going to Angie's List or Home Advisor, think twice, because there's no safety in that.
Yeah.
The same is true of the Better Business Bureau. Business Bureau,
big time, yeah.
Just because they don't have a complaint of Better Business Bureau doesn't mean they haven't gotten a complaint on Better Business Bureau, because $500 will make everything go away.
Yep.
Right. And it's crazy how many people out there. I mean, I'm when I'm sitting in front of a client and I say, hey, check it out. We look at our Better Business Bureau standing. They actually weigh that. They actually think that's great.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
And it's scary to me because, I hate that we have it, because I think it's such a joke, but because everyone else has that and people give it such a heavy,
you're just kind of forced to sign up for it.
You're forced to sign up for something that doesn't really give you anything.
No, and the thing is, like Ashley said, you can pay for whatever you want on Better Business Bureau.
Yep.
If you pay enough money, Better Business Bureau will remove a negative review.
Yep.
They will.
Whether they'll admit that or not, probably
They
not.
won't.
They won't ever.
But I
admit
can
that.
guarantee you that if you get a bad review, all it takes is a little bit of money and that's gone.
Yeah.
And the same thing, there's another website where they talk about like scams and things like that. I forget the name.
Rip-off report.
Rip-off report.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
That's the other one.
Same thing.
And same thing with that one. You pay them, they'll remove the negative review.
Yeah.
And so it's not about the consumer, and it's not about them trying to protect you.
Not at all.
It's all about them collecting money for removing bad reviews.
You know which one you can't remove bad reviews on? Google.
Google.
Yeah.
Google. So not too long ago, we had a unknown individual, which to this day we can't figure out who it was.
Who in the world they were?
Right?
But they were accusing us of like kidnapping and all this.
No,
other
really?
stuff.
Yeah, it was like a
Who'd y'all kidnap?
crazy review. And
Nobody
and
that I know of.
we reached out to Google and said, hey,
Right.
obviously we don't know who this person is, and I don't understand why they're putting this stuff on our page or whatnot. And they were like, sorry, can't help you.
Well, the reason for that is the internet service provider is not considered the actor. They're not considered the voice. And so whenever they pass the Internet Commerce Act, I mean, essentially, a Bing or any of the search providers, even Rip-Off Report, they're not liable for what somebody says. So somebody can slander you. You can go after the person who slandered you, but you can't go after the internet service provider or the website provider. So unfortunately, even the Rip-Off Report, I mean, a lot of times they won't remove slanders, even if the person who advertised it admits that it was slander.
Yeah.
It's insane, because in that situation, the only option that we had was to go hire an attorney and start researching.
We actually had to figure out the ISP or the IP address of the person and have the attorney send a cease and desist letter to have it removed. It was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
To
Well,
get
I'm
that
not
done.
asking for the identity of the person, but how was he related to y'all?
Not at all.
Really?
It was
Just random? Just random?
It's like one of those random reviews that get put on.
So
Wow.
you can actually pay, and here's I don't know if I should even say this. You can actually pay.
No, people need to know.
You can
this.
actually pay someone on different websites like Fiverr or whatnot to go
TaskRabbit,
and
yeah.
review other companies for you. So like if you wanted to like slander someone, you could
Right.
just pay someone $5 to do that, and that's what we think happened.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you go online, you can usually tell because there'll be a review and it'll say like location and it'll be like New Delhi, India.
Yeah. It's always like out of India or something.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how that works, and the technology that we're coming into is a big player in this, and how people are reviewed is gonna change drastically. But anyway, we got to take a quick little break. I can't believe how fast this is going.
Yeah, we're almost done here. When we come back, Alan is going to have to come forward on his bet and take it all.
Take it
all.
Take it all.
Dropping
Take
some
it
golden
all.
nuggets.
Yeah, a couple of golden nuggets on the end here.
Awesome.
You're probably doing both.
We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express, who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, Contact them today at 832-675-6217. Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join@teamwpr.com, join@teamwpr.com.
Hey, Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, david@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's david@houseflippingnetwork.com.
Give 'em hell, Alabama. Yeah. Let's give 'em hell, Alabama.
You put the music on? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and we are back on the
Nice.
Ruckus.
You can't say a word on
Hey
air,
man,
can you?
Alabama plays Ole Miss this weekend.
Yeah.
They've beat us 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
it's
revenge
very
time.
frustrating. They almost kept us out of the national championship. It's time for some revenge, man.
You know, I'm on the other end of this one.
Is your school cool enough to have a song like this? That's the question.
Come on.
I went to Louisiana
They-
Tech, so I
They
don't have any
actually
songs.
think, here's the thing, they actually think this song is cool. That's,
Well, I mean-
that's what's sad about this.
Oh, okay. All right, Alan.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway,
U of H has its own rap.
yeah,
Did you know that?
yeah, they
Have
do.
you heard that?
And
It's pretty
and
badass,
it's
actually.
Not any better than this one.
Really?
Anyway, hey, we had a really good comment from
Yes,
one of,
we did. We had a really good question.
It's a question / comment from one of our House Flipping Network members, and we definitely want to bring that up before we end the show here, which are coming to an end. Can you give us a brief on that?
Yeah, Arcel asked in the interview process, is it a wise idea to ask the potential contractor if he would be opposed to signing a unconditional waiver and release on final payment?
What do you think, Ashley?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If he says no, find a new contractor.
That's my feeling as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and not only do you want him to sign it if he's a GC, your general contractor, you're gonna request that all of his subcontractors sign as they're paid in full.
Yeah.
And they're subs. I
And
mean,
they're
everybody.
sub-subs.
So, I
Yeah,
mean,
you want
it's-
releases all the way.
Yeah.
It's really important to get those releases. The other thing that I would say is that make sure that you have the contract again. I mean, the same thing I said earlier is they can't file a lien without a contract, and you can't try to fight that lien without a contract.
Yeah.
So that's the most important part.
So you
no,
have
they
to
can't.
have
They can't file a lien without a contract. So that's the misnomer.
just the affidavit.
Well, the affidavit is the same thing as a lien. So even though it says this is only a claim of final lien, try selling your house with one.
Mm.
So that is just the law is too far to the left. It's too
On
far
that
to the subcontractor side.
Yeah.
And subcontractors,
Now, we talked about that in one of our previous episodes.
Right.
The pendulum went from right to far left now. And
cutting
and
everything off in
subcontractors-
between. Right.
I mean, there's people out there just filing liens
Yeah.
and just collecting on all the liens that they file.
That's right.
And that's it.
And those are the people you definitely want to stay away from.
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's their job. You know, instead of actually
Yeah.
fixing your house, it's their job to file liens.
Well,
against
and the
it.
other thing that I would say to Eddie Sell is if you're doing a big project, so like 75 grand, 50 grand, you want to be getting partial release of liens as you go along.
That's
So
correct.
as you're making payment, you say, okay, I made you a payment of 10 grand or 15 grand, whatever it may be. I need you to sign this partial release saying that I've paid you that and I no longer owe you that either.
Yeah.
Because it's not only about getting the final one in the end. As long as you have those other ones, if they refuse to sign the final one, you still have them all the way along for what you paid, as opposed to not
So now
having
they
anything.
can't hit you for the full amount. They'll just
Exactly.
get you for whatever you owe
Yeah.
them.
And I just want to remind everybody, truth is the ultimate defense. And so if you do get screwed, and that word is being used, if you get messed around by a subcontractor, post it.
Yeah.
It's something like the Real Estate
Yeah,
Investors Network.
Definitely.
Let somebody else know, because you may not help yourself immediately, but you'll be helping somebody else, and then guess what? They'll be doing the same, and they'll appreciate.
That's so true.
You know,
I see that all the time.
People worry about that way too much. I get it all the time as as a moderator of the group. Hey, is it okay if I let other people know? I'm like, yeah,
Please do,
please, because you're
Yeah.
saving somebody else so much, heartache. So definitely let people know if
We're
you're
all in this together. So I mean, it's just a at the end of the day, Houston is the biggest small city in America.
It's so true.
It's so funny you say that, man, because I run into people all the time, and I'm like, how in the world in a city with 4 million people do I
it's
keep
more now.
running into the same ones?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
insane.
crazy.
Anyway, we're coming to the end of the show. Do we
And-
have any events that we need to
No,
talk
no,
about?
no, no.
Hey,
I see what you're doing here.
I am the host of the show still, right? Shouldn't I be guiding this boat along so we can get done?
I see what you're doing here.
yeah.
You're like, okay.
What am I doing? What am I
You're
doing?
like, if the last 4 minutes I can get them to talk about events, it'll run off, and I'll never have to complete my bet. That was your intent.
Totally was.
Well, we need to know the will of the people.
The will of the people will speak.
Should Alan be allowed to back out of his bet that he lost?
I've already
If we
seen two no's.
if we get 5 yeses, I can back out.
Oh,
All right,
man.
5 yeses. He said it.
So if you guys are watching, I will urge you to vote.
So
So
he's
allow me to back out.
Yeah, he's
All you
bet-
got to do is drop yes below.
He's betting on
I
the
see a half
public
dozen
now.
no's right now. They're coming out one after the other. Boom. So
Hey, real quick, Monica did want to know how do you do the partial releases? Is there like a standard document or?
Yeah, if you just Google partial release of
Right.
lien, there's a million of
Okay.
them, and they're
Right,
very
yeah.
simple. It just basically says, hey, I paid you this, and I no longer owe it to you. This is who you are, and you can
Oh
get it
my gosh.
notarized or not notarized.
I'll go
It's more
one
important to
step-
get them notarized.
right, I go one step further. If the contractor has never seen one of those, find a new subcontractor.
That's very
Yeah.
true too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Any yeses? No, nothing.
No yeses.
Nothing? Not a single
No
one?
yeses.
Not a single one?
I've seen a few likes.
So the
No
will,
likes.
so the will of the people speaks that I must eat a burger.
Yeah,
Is that what the
man.
You
people?
must eat
must
a
take it
burger.
all. You must take it all.
Take it all.
Fine.
Maybe the Golden Nugget comes out in L.A. But
We'll
you're taking it
go
all
live.
today.
We'll go live as I take it all.
Yeah.
Coming to you live from the Texas Burger Palace.
All right. So do we have events coming up now that we got this over with?
Yes, we do have events coming up. I think Jet Lending's coming up next Wednesday. After that, we have Capital Concepts that following Tuesday. And then the big one,
Boom, boom, boom.
the VA class.
Yeah.
No.
That's
We
September
are,
28th.
We're almost entirely booked on that. There's
Mhm.
probably just a couple seats left.
That's terrific.
We had just a couple people yesterday that couldn't even get a spot, so we had to open up a few more. But guys, this may be like a standing room situation. Like you may not get a seat unless you register. For
Yeah,
this
and we
thing.
actually had to switch the format. If you're a realtor,
Yeah.
you can get a free ticket. If
Yes.
you already had your tickets, you're not going to get charged. But we're so packed that if you're not a realtor, it is $15, which is still nothing.
It's still a bargain.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, compared to the
cheap.
information that you're going to be getting, that's literally $5 an hour
Yeah.
that you're paying for, and lunch is
You're
included.
paying us like we're your VAs.
We're getting paid like VAs.
Yeah, and the class, it is geared towards how to grow your real estate team with a virtual assistant and what they can and cannot do for you as far as your real estate team is involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how if someone wants to find that, how do they find it online?
You're going to go to vaclass.eventbrite.com, and that's going to be on September 28th. It's at the Allied Home Warranty Office. Patent Law Firm's doing lunch. So
Nice. Thank you, guys.
Ashley's like, oh, yeah, we are doing
Oh,
lunch.
hey. I'll be there.
But yeah, that's going to be a great time. And then going into October, we're going to have our happy hour as well on the 11th.
Yep.
And you can find that at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com.
Yeah. And by the way, we just want to make it clear to everyone, the White Picket Happy Hour is not just for real estate investors. Now,
Right.
do real estate investors show up? Yes.
Mhm.
And we love that because we help a lot of real estate investors in town.
Yeah.
But it's also geared towards anyone in real estate or anyone that wants to be in real estate. And that includes realtors, loan officers, private
Absolutely.
lenders,
Right.
attorneys, you name it. The idea behind the White Picket Happy Hour was to give everyone a space to truly network and grow their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because the last one we had a ton of attorneys.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know.
we did.
Yeah, I think Ashley brought them all out.
You keep bringing these attorneys around, man.
You know, I don't like them. I don't really like them either. So,
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us at today's show. We had a blast hanging out with you guys.
It's been a good one.
We're going to come back to you guys here shortly while I eat a burger. So make sure you stay tuned. And then don't forget to join us this weekend as we go to LA. White Picket goes to LA. Yeah. As we celebrate Mexican Independence Day today, guys.
Let's hear yours.
Yeah.
How'd I do? How'd I do?
How's it going?
How'd I do?
Going on a
Am I still Mexican?
I'm good with going out on that one. That was good. That was good.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.